Hi, welcome back to the Mama Gets It Done podcast. This week we're talking all about what exactly is this block schedule thing and why it actually works better than your normal schedule for a busy mom. So stick around and you're going to hear all the good stuff. Are you ready to be more productive in your home and say goodbye to the dreaded mom guilt associated with a messy house and chaotic days? Hey, my name's Rachel, and the Mama Gets It Done podcast is for the everyday mom. Yes, even those hot mess moms who just need a little grace and a few tips for getting more done in your day. If you're ready to figure out how to stop hating cooking every night, how to give chaotic days a little more structure, and how to find more time for you in this crazy mom life, then you are in the right place. Hello, mama friends. All right, this week, as I said, we're talking about block schedules. So, what exactly is a block schedule? Why would it work for you? All that good stuff. As we're going from a super busy summer to a super busy fall, I know we all really should be anyways, looking at our schedules, looking at where we can fix things, where we can tweak things, and maybe you just need to completely overhaul it. Been there, done that, friend. So we're going to talk about a block schedule. We're going to talk about maybe if it will work for you or not. So let's dive right in, friends. I started using a block schedule a few years ago, and I really realized as I was going, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much stress was coming with a traditional schedule for me. If you haven't listened to, it's either this second or third episode where I talk about how your productivity is actually hindered by a schedule. I talk about our strict, hour by hour, minute by minute schedules and how they really don't do well for us busy moms in particular. Not every scheduling method is going to work for everyone. This podcast and my content usually speaks for the busy mom. So, for busy moms, usually that minute by minute, hour by hour thing just will not work because our lives revolve a lot around our children, and what we have to do to, get them places, help their little emotions and all that good stuff along the way. And kids don't go on a super strict schedule of mommy needs to do this, this, and this. No, mommy might have to hold the baby. Mommy might have to cook dinner at a weird time. Mommy might have to kill a spider or tie a shoelace. There's a million things you're going to be doing, and unexpected things happen. So block schedules really work for the type of person who do have an unpredictability about their days. Now granted, there's always going to be some staple things in your days that you always know you can keep, like meal times are usually really good, staple times in your days that are going to stay the same, or nap time or something like that. But there is a lot of unpredictability in between those times. And maybe you just want to be flexible. Maybe you don't want to be, adhered to this really rigid schedule because you want to be more like a free flowing person and kind of have time to go do something else if you want to do something else, or, be spontaneous and a little bit impulsive about your life. This is a really good schedule for that as well. I kind of enjoy that, especially in the summers. I'm like, oh, do you want to go do this fun thing? Let's go do it. Especially in the summers, I like to keep it fun. And so this type of schedule has really, really worked for me anyways in the past. So what exactly is a block schedule? I'm glad you asked, friend. So a block schedule is actually just like your normal planner page, kind of. And there are 2 to 5 hour time blocks for your day. So I usually start mine whenever I wake up and it'll end around when I go to sleep. So just like a normal schedule. And I break it up in 2 to 5 hour increments. And then inside of those blocks, the increments are called blocks, aka block schedule. And inside of them, I have a loose list of the things I need to do. There's always going to be things that have to be done, like get my kid to school. And obviously that has to be done at a particular time. But most of these things don't have to be done at a particular time. They only have to be done within the block. So instead of saying that I need to get this thing done at this time, no, I actually just need to get it done in between 9 and 11 or 9 and 12 or whatever my block is for that thing. And slowly but surely, you can start to figure out like, okay, well, this works in this time block and that works in that time block, and my day flows better. The cool thing about time blocks is you have your loose to-do list, right? And say you get to the end of your time block and you didn't get it done. This is my method anyways, is that you move it to another time block in the day that you think is appropriate, or you move it to the next day sometime. There is no stressing that you didn't get this thing done. It also doesn't ruin the rest of your day that something didn't get done or something got moved around, right? Because your time blocks are they're set little things. One doesn't rely on another usually. So when one thing goes wrong, your whole day doesn't fall apart, which is awesome. And I find that is one thing that will happen for sure with a schedule that's minute by minute, hour by hour. Is when things takes too long, then you're off your whole day. And that is just not something that a busy mom has the time to worry about. So that's a really quick rundown of what a block schedule looks like. If you're wondering about more how to structure your day within a block schedule, definitely check out the free Busy Mama Daily Schedule Reset. I will link it down in the show notes. That is where I've got 5 tips on how to really reset your days and organize them a little bit better and get yourself off on a better start. So I know there's several of you that have already taken me up on this and that it's worked out well. I just actually went through and reset my days as well to get ready for fall and like all the things that come with it, school, all that good stuff. And it was really a helpful tool. So I wish I had it like a year ago, to be honest, but here we are now. I made it. So now I want to go into so why does this work? Why does this type of schedule tend to work better? Because really you're probably getting just as much or more done with this type of schedule. And why does that happen compared to different types of schedules, right? So number one, you don't always feel like you're racing the clock like with a hour by hour, minute by minute schedule, but you do have some many times in there, some like the end of each block that does give you the tiniest bit of urgency to get things done. I don't know about you guys, but I get nothing done without a deadline. So those are my mini deadlines throughout the day to be like, okay, I got to get this and this done. So yeah, sure, I can chill for an hour at the beginning of my block if I want. But then by the time I hit about an hour before the end of it, I'm like, oh, I have several more things to do. I better get those done so my block is done. And it feels nice to check those things off as you go. And for people who thrive on a tiny bit of urgency like that, it's a comfortable urgency. And I find that it's not a pressuring urgency. Like you don't feel it constantly like a minute by minute, hour by hour schedule, because that really gets me. I don't know about you, but it really gets me. And, I don't want to live my life feeling like I'm always running from one thing to another. Sometimes we have to, right? Sometimes our days are packed and we have to do that. But for my everyday, all the time schedule, I really like it to be a lot more relaxed. So that's something I've found is really beneficial for me and my mental health, to not constantly be running and feeling like I have to always be doing something. You give yourself a little bit of grace in those time blocks, and it's super nice. Okay. We kind of touched on this already, but another thing that is why it works is one wrong move in your schedule is not going to mess up our whole day. Just like I said, if something goes a little late, guess what? If you don't get it done within your time block, stop. It's not on my list anymore. It gets moved if I need to move it, or it gets moved to the next day, and I'm not worried about it anymore. It's not something like I'm trying to play catch up on constantly. It's something that's a full stop on it. And then I move on to the rest of the things. Because, when you get caught up on one thing a lot of times and you keep trying to go back to this one thing, but then you're like, oh, but I have all these other things on my list that I have to do, right? And you keep skirting around. How many times have you gotten to the point where you have like half of many things done and not any one thing done? Like, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. And I find that a block schedule helps me do that, because I can actually drop things and be like, okay, this just can't happen today. It's not that big of a deal. I do need to move on to something else. And I will loop back around to that when I have the opportunity and when it can come back up on my schedule again. So it takes a lot of that pressure off. Another thing about the block schedule system that I've really found benefits me is that as I'm going through my days, I'm only focused on my to-dos for one block. I'm not focused on my to-dos for an entire day. You know how overwhelming it is when you are looking at this massive list of to-dos you have to do and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. So sure, you could schedule them out like we said, minute by minute, hour by hour on a schedule. But then it's like you're racing the clock the whole time, like we've said. And you're always just trying to get one thing and something else done. And you still have that entire to-do list in your head. Instead, I would challenge you to check out a block schedule and do each block is all you have to think about. So we're not looking at the massive list of to-dos. We're not getting overwhelmed. We're looking at the things that we just have to do in this one block. And then we can actually focus on those things instead of jumping around from one thing to another like a crazy person. Because, I mean, that's what we moms excel at, right? Is like we can multitask usually, which is a good and a bad thing. Let's be honest here. We'll have to have a whole thing on multitasking later because it's not always a good thing, y'all. And we can jump around a lot, but our sanity does not benefit from that. Our productivity does not benefit from that. So there are definitely better ways. And I have found better ways as being focusing just on these few things in this block and then being able to move on. And that way you actually don't get completely just obliterated by to-dos and you kind of feel like you can take one step at a time and make it, right? So here's the thing. A block schedule is not the only thing that you need to know about being productive, but it is a good stepping stone along the path to figuring out what works for you. There are a ton of other things that we can talk about when it comes to scheduling your day with a block schedule and within that block schedule. Things like priorities and to-dos and how to like stack them and how to schedule them and habits and like seriously, we could talk all day long, but I'm trying not to like totally go crazy in this episode. We are all busy moms, right? We have not got like infinite hours to listen to these things, but it is such a good foundation for your day. And it is a super awesome way to go about like figuring out what works for you. So if you're interested in trying it out, I do have like a template of a block schedule that I include in my full-blown like scheduling course. The sample of the block schedule is included in the free Busy Mom Daily Schedule Reset. So if you want a sample schedule to like kind of test the waters and see how you think you can do this and work on resetting your day, definitely grab that at the link in the show notes. And if you're interested, you can also check out the Busy Mom Block Method course that I have, where I go like there's video and text lessons all about like how to set up your days and and days, months, weeks, years, like all those things, not just a day, and how to set up those things for you so that it works and so that you actually get things done, and even those big things and the little goals that you have. So I really love that course. It's what I use, like all the steps and the techniques and everything I share in it is what I use in my actual life. And I stay like super busy all the time, obviously, but I do feel like I kind of have some things under control. That's all we're trying to do here, right? Keep it under control, get a few goals done. What more can we ask for? Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Mama Gets It Done podcast. Leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Seriously, they mean so much for little shows like mine. And if you guys have suggestions or requests for episodes in the future, You can shoot me an email at mamagetsitdonepodcast@gmail.com. I am always taking suggestions. Next week, we are going to be tackling a really exciting thing, our morning routines. So next week, we're going to be talking all about morning routines and how we can really get those to work for us well, despite all the other things that may be going on in the day. Thank you guys so much, and give yourself a little bit of grace and a lot of coffee this week. Bye.